Hello, it's me. That's me. Talking to myself. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Sunday Funday. Oh, I'm trying to. Nope. Shoot. Nothing's working. Trying to get my camera set up here, and it's wanting to fall down. Oh my goodness. Hello, scavengers. This is James. We are running again. Let's get a giveaway going. This is for one of our L'Oreal Paris sample bags. Good morning, Sears. Hello, good morning. CJ, good morning. So we're doing our Sunday Fun Day. Every Sunday we go do live and just hang out, chat, talk about what's going on in the business, what's going on in our lives. Let people get to know us. We're doing good. Every Sunday we do this. We just hang out and chat. We like to do this because when I'm running a show, I'm so focused on sorting and selling and unboxing and doing the stuff that we're doing that I don't get a chance to chat much, and you let people get to know me. So we do this Sunday Fun Day every Sunday to kind of just give everybody a chance to chat with us and get to know more about us. Jessica's not here. She and our oldest went to get some breakfast. So we're also multi-streaming to YouTube. So if anybody's watching on YouTube, y'all come on over to Whatnot and enter the giveaway. We're not selling right now on this show. We have stuff in to buy it now, but we usually don't sell on this show. We just hang out and chat, answer questions. You know, I'm not an expert at Whatnot by any means, but if anybody has questions, we do our best to answer them based on our experience. We've been on here since June. As a buyer or as a seller, we like to help people as much as we can that are starting or thinking of getting started. And so a lot of questions come up. And I thought today I was asked. We did the Madness giveaway train yesterday, and we ran out of time. But people were asking me about why I got banned on eBay. So I thought I'd talk about it today if anybody's interested. And it's part of why I don't put all my eggs in the Whatnot basket. I love Whatnot, and I really think if you want to sell, it's a great place to move stuff. But it's also one, I think people come in with an unrealistic expectation of what it can do right from the start. Uh, Hello, this and that. So, one of the things that we do is back in 2021 and 2022, Emily got really sick, and we were dependent on eBay at that point in time. eBay was our primary income. We were doing a little bit on YouTube, but we were mainly just listing and selling on eBay. Uh, and Emily got sick, and I put my store into vacation mode, but they still leave it live. They just sent them a message saying that shipping may take a little longer, which most people were okay with waiting, a week. But when week turned into weeks, and then weeks turned into months, and months turned into months and months and months, and we spent almost 6 months in the hospital with Emily. Hey, Naked. Good morning, Mabel. So, she was having GI issues. She got a really bad infection, and they had to put her on complete bowel rest. And so she had to go off of all meds, and they had to put in a PICC line, and she was really, really sick. We almost lost her during that time. But because of that, I had stuff selling on eBay almost every week we were there. And I was refunding like crazy because I was over an hour away at the hospital. When Emily goes in the hospital, especially back then, we have a toddler. Well, he's 5 now. At the time, he was only 2. And we couldn't just leave him, by himself. So Jessica stayed home with him, and I went to the hospital with Emily. Well, we in the end we thought we were just going to be there for a few days, and the days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and I was having to refund all these orders on eBay. And then I got the email that they were switching everything over to managed payments. And when I went to set up the managed payments, I don't know, something went wonky. I don't know. But between the refunds and the managed payments, and I'm just guessing based off of my own experience. But through that whole process of doing all that, I got an email that said that our account had been flagged for fraudulent activity, and that we had a lifetime ban on eBay. I spent months trying to get a hold of a live person on eBay. Maple, you want our giveaway? We're giving you one of our L'Oreal Paris sample bags full of samples. So you're getting some of these samples, some of these samples. These are great. Unfortunately, because they're gonna go out tomorrow. I'll get everything packed up tomorrow. They're not gonna get there in time for Christmas, probably. But we're gonna get everything out tomorrow. We sold a whole bunch of these yesterday too. In fact, when I'm done here, I'm going over to my storage. I'm gonna be running a show over there this afternoon. But I've got to get into my storage because we sold 37 of these bags yesterday during the giveaway raid train. Out of our buy it now, and I've got to go to the storage and dig them out. I have a whole bunch here, but I don't have enough for 37 of them. We have a whole bunch of them. We still have a bunch of them. I got like 1,000 of those bags. We got a whole big case of just these. And we have several different bags. We have some that are little makeup cases. They're Garnier. They're all in our buy it now, and every one of those bags in our buy it now, we fill them up with the samples when we ship them out. So we have those. We have the pink Essie bags. We have the canvas bags. We have a big bag that's a L'Oreal bag. All the swag stuff. Because one of the units, what city? We're in Lockhart, which is just south of Austin, kind of between Austin and San Antonio. Used to be the barbecue capital of Texas. Everybody knows Lockhart because of the barbecue, but the reality is our barbecue is kind of eh. It used to be really great. They used to win all kind of competitions. Oh, thank you, Maple. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you so much. Grab all you want. We got a bunch of them. I may have to add more in there. But I kept all the samples here, but I put all the bags in my storage because it's just a huge box from Edna. That's awesome. um. So anyway, I was talking about back in 2013, or back in not 2013. That's when Emily was born. Back in 2021 and 2022, we were heavily dependent on eBay. I got an email from them saying that there was fraudulent activity on my account and I had a lifetime ban. I spent about 8 months trying to get a hold of a live person from eBay before I finally just gave up and said, I'm just wasting my time. I was just getting automated system after automated system, no live support whatsoever from eBay to figure out why I got banned and to see if there was anything we could do to resolve it. Because it was an automated, it kind of felt like it was an automated system thing. And I was hoping maybe if I could get a hold of a live person, I could review it and figure out that there was no fraud going on. But I have no idea what happened. All I can say is the one thing that I could say that may have been part of it, because I talked to some other people about it later, is that my business name is not the name was not you know well at the time that was about the time right before I changed over to CTX Scavenger. I used to go by Storage Scavenger, but when we made that switch, but even before we made that switch, my bank account is not under the name of Storage Scavenger. That's not the name of my business. That's just the moniker I go through on social media. Um, So because my eBay store was named under my moniker and not under my business name, we think that that might have been what triggered the fraud alert. We don't know. Uh, but we've since changed that to where now, since I changed it over to CTX, and one of the things we did was we changed the name of the business to match. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what triggered it or not. I'm just guessing based on having talked to other people because, like I said, I tried for months to get a hold of a live person at eBay and I could never get anything. Not only that, but anything associated with my personal name, I can't do on anything on eBay on any account. Um, Even my wife got a alert on her, probably because same name, same address. Uh, she got an alert on her eBay account. So our son, who also has an eBay account, but he has a different last name because he's my stepson, and he has a different address listed as his home address. Um, so we think so he still has an eBay account, and if we buy on eBay, that's we buy through his account. But um, yeah, so I haven't been able to do anything on eBay since 2022. But that really helped me to learn to don't be dependent on a platform that you don't control. That's why I love Whatnot. I like Macari. I've done well on Macari over the years. Um, I haven't done as much on Poshmark. I have a Poshmark account, but I haven't really done that much. And I do most of mine is done through Macari, here, YouTube, and Facebook Marketplace. Those are the four places that 90% of what I sell sells. Um, I have OfferUp. Hey, Mrs. Big Papa Pump. I have a few other places, but I don't depend on Whatnot. I don't depend. I mean, with the kind of money that we're making on Whatnot right now, we're not Ms. Big Papa Pump. We're not doing hundreds or thousands of dollars per show. We couldn't make it on what we're making here on Whatnot right now, but we're diversified in other platforms and other places that are really where we're making more money and doing other things. But that's also why I can't dedicate full time to Whatnot because I'm busy doing stuff on other places that are bringing in more. Most of our furniture, for example, we sell on Facebook Marketplace, um, and sometimes that takes a lot of work. Um, we also do a lot of just individual sales. We have a lot of people. We've networked with a lot of people in our small town, and we are, I've got people that watch my shows and then contact me later and are like, "Hey, I saw this in your show," and making me an offer on stuff. Especially when we're doing live unboxing shows. I had one. Go back and watch my replays. We had a live unboxing we were doing in the front yard, and my neighbors were actually sitting in the yard behind us. And as we were showing stuff that didn't sell, they were buying it. So Jessica was wheeling and dealing with them while I was running the show. So, and that happens for us. So we sell a lot outside of Whatnot as well as what we sell on Whatnot. We bring everything to Whatnot pretty much mostly first, for the smaller stuff that we're willing to ship. But we collect a lot of items that we're just not willing to. We know kind of what prices we might get on Whatnot for it, and especially as small as we are. So that's one of the things. If you're a new seller, if you're a smaller seller, don't count on Whatnot being your primary income for a few months. And even then, I would not put yourself in a position to be dependent on Whatnot because they can change their rules and put you out of business overnight. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me on eBay. I've seen it happen to countless other sellers, um, and other businesses. I see people in multiple different business models go out of business because a rule changed or a platform changed or a platform just went away. I've been involved in reselling for about 5 years, but I've been involved in website marketing and online business stuff since 2008. And I've seen so many changes. I've seen social media sites where people built their entire business around one social media site, and that site disappeared, went out of business. Um, Vine. I saw people that had an entire business built around Vine. I've seen people that had an entire business that was built around Periscope. And when those sites went away, they were out of business overnight. So you don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket ever. You want to at least know what your minimums are. So, like, I know what my minimums, and I want at least multiple platforms at least making the minimum. So that if I lose one, I'm not going out of business because I can at least make enough to keep ourselves afloat while I rebuild something else. And I'm building, yeah, I talked about this yesterday a little bit. I'm building my own store. Um, I'm using Shopify because Shopify has the ability to not only list things in my own store, but also list it across multiple other platforms that I'm on, like Macari. I can put stuff on Facebook Marketplace for local pickup only. I can post stuff on Poshmark. I can post stuff here. I can even post stuff to Amazon, which I'm not even an Amazon FBA seller, uh, or FBS seller. But I could set that up and sell on Amazon. Um, it's a whole nother mess of having to learn how to get ungated on certain stuff. I haven't even really looked into Amazon that much, but I know a lot of sellers that sell stuff on Amazon, especially like we got tons of books. And I know a lot of people that go into books on Amazon and just sell a crap load of books through them, used books, old books. Um, but you want to be diversified at the same time. Here's the thing with diversification: you have to learn how each platform works. Um, this and that. Our experience is you build a following based on the category you're in. Like our main category is storage unit finds, and if I go into a storage unit finds, I can get 15, 20, 30 people in our selling shows. But if I go into any other category, I get like 4 or 5 people. You have to go consistently in that category. It's just like when you started in your show. What it is you just have to keep showing up in that category and build a following in that category. You also have to recognize that certain categories are bigger than others. Cards, storage unit finds, estate sales, they're huge categories. You're going to get thousands of people. You can even look. Um, you can see how many people are watching shows in that category. So at any given time, I can go to the storage unit finds category and I can see that there's 1,000 to 2,000 people watching across all the channels in that category. But I look at the jewelry category and there's like 200 people watching all the shows in the jewelry categories. That's a huge discrepancy between the number of people. So you've got to build a following in that category. I've started doing book shows. I don't expect much. I get like 4 or 5 people in those book shows, and most of them are people that followed me from storage unit finds. Um, but I've got to keep showing up in that book category to build a following in that category. So the following will follow you based on the category you're selling in. Yeah, there's some people that will cross over, but the majority of people, if you're in a different category, aren't going to see your show. Unless they've bookmarked the show, they're not going to get a notification if you're in a different category. If they've not watching that category, then it's not going to show up in their feed. Yeah, no more than 5 people, and I understand that. Um, just like with storage unit finds. Okay, we got involved with Storage Madness. We've been in with Sunshine Treasures. We've been doing raid trains that are run by people specifically in that category. We also have started doing the book trains with Dev from Dev's Madhouse, Storage Madness's Dev. Um, and we're doing raid trains in the books category. Um, it's just a slow process to build it up. I can go do a book show right now, and I guarantee you I'll get like 4 or 5 people in there. And I might sell 2 or 3 books because it just depends on, the more people you have, the more likelihood you're going to have the right person for the book you're showing. And especially with us, we have a random assortment of books because they're all coming out of storage units, and it's whatever they had in storage. Like I have a ton of romance books because we had one unit that the lady was just an avid reader of romance books, and I had like 18 cases of books. Well, suitcases, totes, boxes, all books out of that unit, and almost all of them are romance. There's been some recipe books, there's been some here and there other stuff, but 90% of the books we got out of that unit were romance. Um, we've sold some. I sold some in lots. I sold a couple of box lots to one person off of YouTube. Not here on Whatnot, but YouTube. I also have random box of books in my Buy It Now, where people can buy a box lot of books. And if people buy a random lot of books and they message me a specific genre or type of book that they're looking for, I'll focus on that kind of book when I build the box lot. Because I've got sci-fi, I've got fantasy, I've got business, self-help, meditation, spirituality, all that kind of stuff. I've got books on uh, just about every subject you can think of. I've got tons of romance. So I can make box lots right now, at least, based off of whatever people are interested in. So if anybody buys a box of books out of my Buy It Now, I can make a specific one if they message me with a specific genre. And if they don't message and they just buy it, I'll just go in and grab random books and throw an assortment of books in there. I also am working on one of the things is like being category specific. So when you set up your Buy It Nows, are you just doing random items in your Buy It Now, or are your Buy It Nows specific to that category? And then, like, I know with storage unit finds, we were on for 3 months, and it was when we started doing some raid trains and getting on some of the bigger raid trains like Storage Madness, is really when we started to grow. Um, and are you networking with other shows in that category? For example, if I'm doing a book shows, I'm going to start doing a weekly book show. I want to start networking with people that are selling in the books category. That way their followers can find us. Um, and that's just a slow process to get going. I've been watching other shows all the time. That's what people in the Storage Unit Finds have asked me recently. Why aren't you coming to shows very much anymore? I'm still on shows. I'm on the app almost every day. But some of those days I'm in other categories because I'm trying to build followings in those categories as well. Because of some of the stuff that we're doing specific shows on. I'm doing storage unit finds shows, I'm doing jewelry shows, and I'm doing book shows right now because those are what I have the most of. Um, and so I'm trying to build some following in those categories. So I'm spending time on jewelry shows, and like, I'm not a big jewelry person. I just have a lot of it right now because we've been finding a lot of it. But I go into the jewelry shows and I'm learning a lot about jewelry that I didn't know, and it's kind of cool. It's interesting, and I enjoy doing it. And a lot of people, if I do the jewelry shows in the storage unit finds category, I can get more people, but everybody wants them in lots because they're going to then take it in and piece it out. And I'm trying to maximize some of it right now because a lot of that jewelry we got out of a unit that I wrecked my truck back in August. And, part of the reason why we're not just lotting everything up is because I'm trying to maximize some of what we can get out of some of it to uh, replace my truck. Once I get my truck replaced and my trailer replaced, and we get things, a little bit more financially stabilized for our household, then I will probably go back to selling off jewelry in lots. And we do sell some lots. We sell some individual pieces. But like we got a big unit that was full of jewelry. I just got a unit 2 weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. It was the one that we got for the Joe Hollywood special. We found a whole box of brand new paparazzi in there. Paparazzi is not super expensive stuff. It's mostly cheap costume jewelry, but I've sold quite a few pieces of it already. So, and we're going to be listing a bunch of that. I just haven't gotten around to listing it. We're going to be listing some of that on our website. We're going to be listing some of that in our Buy It Now. But when you're setting up your Buy It Now for those category specific shows, make sure your Buy It Now is stuff that goes with that category. I've seen a lot of people doing, say, a book show, and they have all this random household stuff in their Buy It Now. One of the things, especially in books or media of any kind, if you got books, DVDs, media, you want everything, including your giveaways, to be in that category, because you with the media stuff, you get media mail shipping. But if you sell any items that don't qualify for media mail, you have to pay regular shipping price, which is a lot more expensive. And especially books, because books are heavy. Media mail really comes into effect if you're selling books, because it greatly reduces the shipping cost. Now, flat rate shipping will still be cheaper if you can fit it all in a flat rate box. But like I did a bundle box that didn't all fit in a flat rate, and the box weighed 37 pounds. It would have been $67 to ship, and it cost me $16 because it was media mail. So, but even if you do a giveaway that's a gift card, that will disqualify the entire order for media mail, and you'll have to pay. I had somebody that told me that they had a whole show of books, but they gave away a gift card to a bookstore, and because that giveaway was in that shipment, it disqualified the whole shipment for media mail, and it cost them like $47 to ship. So
good morning, everybody.
Yeah, Jessica just walked in. So, you've got to pay attention to stuff like that, especially going outside of categories. But you've got to build a following in that category. Now, I can go in and I can do live here in a storage unit finds, and I can get people in. But if I go into books, if I go into jewelry, I don't have a following, I'm going to get just a few people. Consistency in the category shows up. If your following just kind of all gets lumped together and whatnot, so you say, oh, I've got, this many followers. I've got, 2,000 followers, 2,600 followers right now. We hit yesterday. Which we appreciate everybody that helped, everybody that came to the raid train yesterday. Thank you so much. We got a lot of new followers through the raid train, which is why we do the giveaway trains. We get a lot of new followers every time we do one. And we made a lot of sales out of our Buy It Now. We made more than enough off the Buy It Now to cover all of our shipping, and made a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit, after all the fees and shipping and everything, which is great when you're doing all giveaways and you sell enough stuff to make some money. We're going to do another L'Oreal giveaway. But one of the things that we're doing is, one of the things I'm working on is I've been talking to a lot of people, and we want to get back to doing reduced shipping. I lost money doing reduced shipping, but part of it's because I was doing reduced shipping and $1 and $2 starts, and I didn't have enough people to get bids. So I was selling stuff for $2 or $3, and then having to pay $7 or $8 for shipping. And that lost money. So one of the things I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to try reduced shipping again. I'm going to start my bidding on individual items, and I'm going to try to make sure that they're worth what we're, selling, and worth more than what we're selling. So I'm going to start my bids between $3 and $5 on individual items. And if I'm doing box lots, they're going to start at $10. I have to start the box lots at $10, because if they already have reduced shipping and they buy a box lot, okay, it's going to cost me $8.77 to ship. It's going to cost me about 40 cents from whatnot for the transaction fee. So I make less than $1 if I sell it for $10. And I don't mind keeping that thin a margin, but if I only get one bid, I've got to be able to make a little bit of money. I got to be able to make more than what I spent. And that was one of the problems I had with reduced shipping. We turned it off because we were losing money on shows. I did about a dozen reduced shipping shows back when we first started. Out of that dozen shows, 3 were profitable. And the profit margins on those 3 did not exceed the losses on the others. So we lost money overall doing reduced shipping. That's why we turned reduced shipping off. But everybody I've talked to, I noticed this myself. When we were doing reduced shipping shows, we were getting 20, 30, 40 people in a show. Literally, as soon as I turned off reduced shipping and went back to doing my own shipping because we were losing money, our shows dropped back down to 10 to 15 people a show. Every once in a while, if we get raid, we get like 20 people, and then it'd go right back down by the time the giveaway was done. So I'm like, okay, I need to do reduced shipping, but I got to do it in a way that I don't lose money. So if I do reduced shipping shows again, I'm gonna have to start a minimum of $3 to $5 starts on individual items, depending on the item, and I'm gonna have to start any box lots that we do are gonna have to start at $10, just so that I can break even. Because I have to assume, as small as we are, I have to assume if we start the bidding at X dollars, it's gonna sell for that. There's things I hope we'll get a bidding war. There's things that I hope I will get enough people to get multiple bids on an item, but we're not there yet. One of the things I do is I observe. I go into a lot of shows. Sometimes people don't even know there, because sometimes I'm there to network and I'm chatting and I'm hanging out, but sometimes I'm just in there watching and nobody knows I'm there. One of the things that I have noticed, not only on my own show, but watching other people's shows, if you've got between 1 and 20 people in your show, you're going to get maybe 20 to 30% of the items that you show are going to sell. And out of that 20 to 30%, they're going to go for 1 bid. Very rarely are you going to get multiple bids on an item. When you get from 20 to about 40 people, you're going to get 2 or 3 bids, and you'll start selling maybe 50% of the items that you sell. Once you start getting over 50 people in a show, you start getting more consistent bids, you start getting more items sold, and you start getting more bids up on your items. So that's where one of the things that we talked about, and I've talked to a lot of people, the way we're doing it is if we have less than 20 people in a show, we're starting at $5 bids. If we start getting 20 to 30 people, we're going to go to $3 bids. And once we get over 50 plus people, then we might start doing $1 bids on our show. And the reason why is because we know from watching those numbers on not only our shows, but watching it on other people's. Linda Mitt, you won the giveaway. You're getting a L'Oreal Paris bag full of samples. So that's how we're pricing. I'm still trying to keep those bids low. I see people that are starting items at like 20 or $30. And then they're like, oh, it didn't sell. Oh, it doesn't sell. Nobody wants this stuff. If you have an item that's worth $20 and you're starting your bid at $20 and then people are paying shipping on top of that, they're not going to bid. If I can go to the store and buy it for less than what I'm paying for you plus shipping, then I'm going to go to the store and buy it. I have to be able to get people here are looking for a good deal, and you've got to equate for the shipping, because even though like we're trying to get back to doing reduced shipping, but I have to assume that the person bidding doesn't have the reduced shipping yet because this may be their first item that they purchased. So I've got to make sure that that item is worth what we're starting to bid plus shipping, and I want to make sure that it's worth more than that. I want to make sure that they're getting a good value here, that you're getting a good deal, even if you're paying shipping. That's my take on it. A lot of people disagree with me. Run your show however you want to. I'm all for this is what I'm doing, and I'm testing. I'm always testing. I live by ABT. Always be testing something. So I'm always testing different things, even if I don't talk about what I'm testing, because most of my testing would be off if I'm telling people I'm testing this out. Uh, we're gonna see. So, and that's what I did early on. Early on, I tested reduced shipping. For me, it didn't work. But I think part of it, as I've looked back at it, I've looked at what I was doing. I was doing reduced shipping, but I was doing $1, $2, $3 starts on reduced shipping, and that's where we lost money. It's not the customer's fault; it's my fault. I set my prices too low to cover that reduced shipping fee. So we're gonna try reduced shipping again, but we're raising the cost. The other thing is, I think reduced shipping works better if you have like a preset, pre-loaded show where you've got like I can lay out a bunch of stuff on the tables, versus doing live unboxing where I'm getting various sizes, various weights. I might get one or two items that fit in a flat rate box, and it may be everything else is like custom boxes because flat rates won't fit most of my items sometimes. And I've had that. That's one of the things that happened a lot. We would get into a reduced shipping show, and then all of a sudden, half of my items wouldn't fit in flat rate boxes because they were just too big. They were light enough, and the weights were good, but the reduced shipping didn't work because I was having huge boxes of stuff just to fit the size of items that we were having, and I when I'm doing live unboxing, you got to realize, like, I see some channels do it where they're sitting there weighing out every single item. Okay, and like Double D does this. Okay, they actually will stop and weigh out each item so that they're getting their shipping weights really accurate. Uh, the problem is they have three people running that show. So they can have one person that's chatting, showing, and selling while somebody else is weighing the items out and getting it set up for the next sale. Um, I'm doing this by myself. I don't have three people in the background to keep the chat going, weighing out the items, trying to unbox everything, trying to move everything around. I'm doing all of that mostly by myself. Jessica helps every once in a while when she can. But for the most part, 90% of my shows, I'm doing 90% of the work. Um, and so because I have different structure, I also have a really screwed up setup. My room is just so packed I can hardly get to stuff right now. And it's like it'll take me 5 or 10 minutes to move stuff to get to some of the good stuff that I've got hidden over here. So I have to take that into account, and I don't want to lose people trying to keep that moving and trying to keep the show going. So and I've done that. I had a time where I had like 20 people in the show. I stopped to go move stuff around, and by the time I got back, I was down to like 10 people because people get bored. If you're not showing and selling and moving it quick, people get bored and they leave. I've done that several times. The problem is when I'm here by myself, I'm trying to do the work that other shows that keep that flow moving are doing with two or three people, and I'm trying to do all of that by myself. So it's hard to be set up in a way with the way my room's laid out. It's hard for me to keep it moving that fast. So that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. And I'm testing some different ways of doing it. I'm testing different things. Uh, like I said, I'm always testing. And I have items that I've had for a long time that I keep trying to sell. And it's frustrating because I know what some of the stuff's worth. Um, because some of it I've looked up and I know what it's worth and I know what it sells for and I keep showing it and I'm offering some crazy ridiculous prices on it. Even when you include shipping, it's still cheap as hell and it's still not selling. So you just have to get the right people. At the same time, this is where numbers matter. And I agree. Some people are like, "Oh, it's all about building your following." And I want to say, once you get past your 1,000 followers and your 1,000 sales, following does not matter. How many people are subscribed or following my channel does not matter. It matters in that it helps have better opportunities for more people to show up, more people getting notifications. That matters. But what really matters is how many people are in your seats. Like right now, okay, I got 2,000 followers. I got 3 people in the show. Okay, that's what matters. How many people are in that show at any given time? Yeah, I have to. I'm on a buying freeze right now. This and that. How often do you add need new product? I feel like I'm not selling any products or getting stale. I've been there myself, and that's one of the things that I get frustrated with because I want to sell the stuff I have in this room, but I've already sold almost everything I have in this room 3 or 4 times, and it's not selling. But then again, I've had items that I've shown 5, 6, 7 times, and then I show it again, and all of a sudden I got like 3 people bidding on it. So you just never know exactly what people are there and how they're going to buy. But I do want to keep it fresh. What I recommend is also how are you sourcing, because like I might part of the reason I switched from storage scavenger to CTX scavenger is because we decided to try some different methods of sourcing besides just storage units. When I started, all I did was storage units. But I have some items now that we got through thrift stores. We've gone yard sailing. We've gone through a lot of different ways of collecting stuff to sell. So maybe, if your show's getting a little stale, maybe you go source a little bit differently. Find something that you haven't sourced before, but in smaller quantities. Like I'm on a buying freeze. I can't buy any more storage units right now. I've got way too much stuff. I've got this room is pretty much packed. I have 3 storage units at my facility here in town that are all packed. But there's also a lot of junk in there. So I'm going through that. In fact, I'm going to be leaving once I get off this show. I'm going over to my storage unit. One, I've got to get more of my L'Oreal bags because all my L'Oreal bags are sitting over in my storage unit. So I've got to dig those out because we sold more than what I had here. I had a small box of them here at the house and I sold out yesterday. And I got to go get more. You thrift and buy pallets. Can't find any storage around the auction. I get that. Um, Also, how far are you willing to go for storage units? I've gone as far as Dallas to get a storage unit. And that's one of the things I've noticed. A lot of the storage unit buyers that are doing this full time anyway, they're willing to drive 2, 3, 4 hours to get units. Um, but then you also have to pay extra transport costs if you're going to be that far away. If it's a big unit, it might require an overnight stay. So that's all got to be factored into the cost of what it's going to cost you to do and what you think you can get out of it. But we bought when we buy units in Dallas, it's usually because we're already there because some of Emily's doctors are there. Uh, but we do look at units. I have a unit that I was watching just a couple of weeks ago that was in Dallas. Um, but when I factored in the transportation cost, the overnight stay I would have to do to load it up and bring it all back, it was going to cost more than I thought it was worth. So I wound up dropping out of the bidding. But I was willing to go a few $100 on that unit just because I knew it would have been worth it. And it's always a guessing game. There's a lot of risk and gambling in storage units. Thrifting, if you know what you're doing, I like thrifting if you know specific categories of stuff. Like I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, which is why storage units works for me. Thrifting, you really have to know the individual products that you're thrifting. Uh, and then how are you bidding? Like I see a lot of people that will go thrifting or do yard sales, and they're gonna say, okay, or estate sales, and they say, okay, I spent $5 on this. We're starting the bidding at 10, so they're doubling what they paid for it. I would not do it that way. I would say, okay, we paid this $3. We're gonna start the bidding at 5. So we're going to add $2. That way we're covering whatnot's fees. We're covering, but we're keeping thin margins to start the bidding. Luckily, that's why I like storage units too. Because what I buy a storage unit, even a small unit. We bought a small. It's a 10 by 10. It's a small unit. It wasn't even fully packed. I paid $40 for the unit, and I sold over 100 items out of that unit for more than $1. And I haven't even sold all the items out of that unit yet. Um, even a small unit, a 5 by 10 unit, or a 10 by 10 unit, I can probably get 200 or 300 items out of that unit that I can sell. And so, I'm thinking about how many items can I sell versus how much did I spend on the unit. Like when I'm bidding on a unit, I'm looking at it and I'm guesstimating because all I can do is guess based off of what I can see, right? So if I can count boxes, I can say, okay, there's 20 boxes in that unit that I can see. I'm gonna bid $10 per box, so that's $200. And then if there's any individual loose items that I can see that I can put an estimated value on, I'm gonna sell it for less than what I think. If I can bid at $10 a box and I can sell it for $20 per box, average, some boxes may all be junk, but some boxes may be full of jewelry. So, but if I can average $20 a box, then I'm doubling what I bid. That's the way I look at units. And I'm a very, very conservative bidder. Jessica gets mad at me sometimes because I don't bid enough on units. I'm very conservative, but part of it's because I'm not in a position like some of these other sellers where I can lose money. So my thought is I have to at least double or triple what I spend on that unit in order to make it worth my time. And I'm including what is it going to cost me to transport it? What's it going to cost me? Like we have a unit right now. We only paid $20 for the unit, but I'm having to pay rent on that unit because it's 2 hours away. And I don't have the space for it. Now, if I was out thrifting, I would have to know the product that I was thrifting. If I'm going to yard sales, I got to know what I'm looking at. I got to know what's it worth. At least an estimate of what it's worth. Um, and am I getting a good deal? And can I still sell it at a good deal on the other end? Uh, so you have to have more knowledge of your specific category of stuff that you're selling. Uh, but also think about what are other ways that you go. So you said you've been doing thrifting, you've been doing pallets. Have you gone to yard sales? Have you gone to estate sales? Because you can get great deals at estate sales. You can get great deals. Have you gone to Whatnot? Have you gone to Facebook Marketplace? And do you ever look for free? One of the things with storage units, we use Storage Treasures as our primary source of sourcing for storage units. Well, with our membership with Storage Treasures, we get free offers on units. I also go through Facebook Marketplace, and there's a whole category in Facebook Marketplace of free to pick up. We get products that we turn around and sell for free on Facebook Marketplace. And it's also how we get rid of some of our stuff. Like if I got mattresses, beds, big stuff that's not in great shape that I don't think will sell well, I'll put it up on Facebook Marketplace as a free offer for people to just pick it up. But we get stuff that way. And I've had other resellers, because there's a lot of resellers in my little town. And I've had other resellers come and pick up my free stuff, and I've picked up their free stuff. So then all it cost you was, what did it cost you to go pick it up? $5 in gas, $10 in gas because you went, a few blocks away, or maybe, I've had times I got a free unit in San Antonio a few months ago. Well, it cost us like $60 in gas to go down there and get it, but we made 150, $200 off of that unit. So, it wound up being a good deal. We got a free pickup unit. On the other hand, this is the downside. We got a free pickup unit. It looked like a really, really great unit that we picked up in Round Rock, which is north of Austin. We had to rent a truck to go get it because it was a pretty big unit. It wound up being almost all. We thought it was a bunch of boxes. It wound up being like 10 boxes and a bunch of furniture. Um, so far, I haven't sold very much of the furniture out of that unit. I've got some of it listed. I've been trying to sell some of it, but so far we haven't even covered what it cost us to rent the truck to get that free unit. So yeah, the unit was free, but what are the additional costs? So that's something to be careful of with doing free stuff. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's free. There's still going to be some cost involved. But look for free deals that are close by that won't cost you a lot of extra to get. Uh, and then, do you let people in your life know that you're reselling or what you're doing? Because I have people bring me stuff and either just give it to me and say, here, if you can sell this, sell it, do whatever you want with it, because we're just going to donate it anyway. Or they'll say, here, can you sell this for me? And then we'll do a commission deal where, you know what, we'll sell it for you and we're going to keep 50%. You'll get 50% of whatever we sell. Um, and we've had people that have brought us collections of stuff that we've sold that way. Now, a lot of times when we do those kind of deals, we won't sell that stuff here on Whatnot. We'll sell that stuff elsewhere where we can maximize more of what we're getting out of it. So it's going to take longer to sell, but we're going to get more bang for our buck when we're doing something that's like that for somebody specific. I'm not usually going to sell somebody's collection on Whatnot for $2 or $3 a piece that could be sold on other platforms for $30 or $40 a piece or more. And like people ask me all the time about my jewelry and specifically like my gold jewelry. Well, if I'm running stuff and I'm getting good bids, I might run a piece of gold jewelry if I think I can have enough people and I can get the bids. But I don't run gold here on Whatnot very often. With as small of a show as we have, I don't run gold here because I can scrap it for more than what I'll get here. And if I can scrap it for more than what I'll get here, I can't sell it here. I've got to at least meet scrap value or else it wasn't worth me running it. And especially that's one of the reasons we're building our own website too, because we'll list that kind of stuff on our website. So, these are just things that I'm thinking about all the time. I'm constantly, even when I'm not working, I'm constantly thinking about my business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I also have a brain that's never stops. With my ADHD, my brain just constantly goes. Even when it looks like I'm not doing anything, I'm doing something in my head. And there's a lot of things to think about. Um, you know, if you're doing pallets, you're doing thrifting, do y'all have a bins anywhere nearby? Even within, an hour or two away. That's a great way to get stuff. We've been to our bins. We have a bins. It's about 45-minute drive away to the bins, and we go there every once in a while. I don't go there very often. But again, the bins, you're picking individual items, so you kind of got to know what you're picking. When I buy a storage unit, I have times I'm selling stuff and I'm like showing stuff and saying, "Hey guys, I have no idea what this is," and then I've got like 4 or 5 people bidding on it. And then sometimes, I find stuff that this is weird. It's something I really haven't figured out on what. There's stuff I think will never sell that we used to just donate, and now we run it because we've seen it sell, not only on other people's channels but in our own. Um, and yeah, there's also stuff that I'm like, oh, this is stuff that's valuable. This is stuff somebody's gonna want this, and I run it time after time after time, and then eventually wind up donating it because nobody bought it. Uh, and that's another thing. I donate a lot of stuff. That's sellable stuff, but I'm gonna run it a few times here on Whatnot. I'll do usually an inventory liquidation show where I go in and I usually turn off reduced shipping for the liquidation shows because I'm doing dollar starts and I can't do reduced shipping and dollar starts. So if I'm going to do reduced shipping, I'm going to have to turn off. I'm going to have to up those starting bids. But if I'm doing a liquidation, I'm just trying to get rid of it. And if it doesn't sell for $1, I'm donating it. Um, because I've got to get rid of stuff and make room. Right now, I got so much stuff, and I could sit here for months trying to sell it. Uh, if I don't have the following, if I don't have the people in the show, I can't sit on it for months and months and months hoping that the show will build up. And people get bored. You know, people are going to get bored if you're just showing the same items over and over and over again. One, I have such a collection, I can run the same items, but it'll be like it's been like 2 weeks since the last time I showed that item because I've got so much other stuff to show. Versus, you know, if I was really, really limited on space, I might be showing the same item show after show after show. And people are going to get bored with that. You might do just a little bit of, we're going to show some of the same items, but we're also going to bring in some fresh inventory and kind of mix it up a little bit. I know.
I've ordered it.
Okay.
It's waiting to be good.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Well, I'm almost done here.
I'm just letting you know
So,
in case you forgot.
but, you know, those are things to think about. Jessica's wanting me to go run some errands, and I got to get back and get my own selling show. So we're gonna be on. I think I have it set for 2 or 2:30. It may be 3. We're gonna be going over to the storage unit because I'm fixing to have to go run an errand, and it's about a 45-minute drive over there to get some medicine for Emily. So check into our shows. You know, we're still learning, we're still growing, but I'm always testing. The one thing that I can say that will make you, you know, succeed, it may not be successful right off the bat, is always be testing something. And don't test, a test is not one time. Because if I'm doing something, it might not work today, but it might work tomorrow. You know, so like when I did reduced shipping, I didn't just do 1 or 2 reduced shipping shows. I did a dozen shows with reduced shipping turned on. And then I looked at the data and said, okay, how is this doing? And I'm still looking at the data. We did that like 3 or 4 or 5 months ago. And so I'm still looking at that data and saying, okay, this is what the data showed that we did with reduced shipping. What if we made these adjustments? And that's where we decided, okay, if we do reduced shipping, we're going to test it again, but we're going to raise the prices to a point where even if people are buying multiple items, they're getting that reduced shipping, but we can still cover that shipping cost. Don't forget, too, when you're setting your prices, you've got to cover the shipping cost, but you've also got to cover the item cost and your shipping supplies. You know, we got to cover bubble wrap, paper, all that kind of stuff, and that costs us money. Tape. Even if you're using the free boxes, I use free boxes as much as I can. I scavenge boxes just like I do everything else. When I call myself scavenger, I am a scavenger. I scavenge for everything that I can for free. Product to sell, boxes to ship in, shipping supplies, whatever I can get that I can scavenge, I will. We get the free boxes from USPS. We get free shipping labels from FedEx and UPS. We do whatever we can, scavenging stuff to sell, scavenging stuff to feed. We scavenge through the storage units. For me, it's reducing my costs as much as I can, even though I may have to spend more time and work to do it that way. Because I have time. What I don't have is money. You know, we're not broke completely, but we're not, you know, well off. You know, and I don't have the funds that other people have, and I also don't have the time. You know, I know some people that are got 3 or 4 people helping. They're also working 7 days a week. They're doing shows 6 and 7 days a week. They're selling constantly. Unfortunately, my schedule has not allowed for that yet. I need to do more of that. I need to get to where I'm showing 4 or 5 days a week at least. I'm like right now I've got shows scheduled throughout the rest of the year. I had one scheduled for last night and then I didn't run it because I had some personal issues going on. And I have my own issues. I have a lot of mental health issues I'm dealing with. I'm learning how to deal with my ADHD and my focus, and there's a lot of things going on with that. But I'm constantly trying to test different things, and I'm constantly trying to give it another push. So we're gonna be back at probably 2:30 or 3 on our other show. We're gonna read it out of here real quick. Let's go say hi to who's on? Deal Steel Krakens is on. Oh, it's Bananas is on. Let's find a smaller show. Vibrant Southern Winds. Let's go say hello to Vibrant Southern Winds. She's only got a few people in her show. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will see y'all